the residents had already.
Well, I'll tell you that
Decided.
we had a meeting with the task force, at their request. And we also had conversations with Hirschhorn, before the vote. And I indicated, to both groups that, we were having an appraisal, that it was very possible that the rent, proposed by us would be higher than the Island House rent based upon the increase in the market value, and they should know that before going forward. And that was our statement, and we're not going to, agree to an amount that's not realistic based upon the market value, assuming there's an increase in the market value. And basically, because I believe there probably is an increase, I made that statement to all the parties,
There
so
are
they
just so
would
many
be aware of it.
variables. I mean, I think it's similar to Island House, but it's certainly not the same building. There are so many issues that one building has with the other one that we should have been really involved in all along in this. It's certainly before they voted. I don't know what made them vote before, because it really puts us in an awful position.
HCR didn't look at the affordability plan before the vote. ESD hasn't looked at the TEP payment before the vote. So I'm not sure why it's done in this chronology, but that's how it's been done.
Hi, I'm a member of the board of the Westview Task Force. And in the meetings leading up to the conclusion of negotiations, we had meetings which included HCR, and their representatives at that meeting made it fairly clear, just as was recently said by Faye, that they're looking for the tenants to be satisfied with the negotiated arrangement. They were not going to dictate up or down or sideways, but naturally, tenants have an interest in the rental rates being as low as possible and the purchase rates being as low as possible. But that reflected a need to do compromise. And believe me, I sat in hundreds of hours of meeting trying to get a reasonable compromise that all tenants in the building would feel comfortable with. And what we have now is a reasonable compromise. And we're hopeful that the expedited review that you talked about, Susan, will bring us to a satisfactory arrangement from RIOC, from Attorney General, from HRC, in time for the January 30th cutoff date, when new terms start to take a force.
We're gonna try to help you with that.
Thank you.
Well, but we're saying that we're trying to help you. We will rely on our appraisal.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
Of course.
will rely on whatever expert help you require to understand the economics of this, which typically requires that we analyze the anticipated stream of ground rents and other payments in order to determine whether this is fair to the corporation. We will need to have a fairness opinion in the end. So people who need some sleep can look over the Island House package for similar material. We would also need to understand how this fits into the spectrum of the island generally. We would hope that the appraisers consider this as one of the housing projects in the island, and so there's a history and maybe a level of continuity to be considered there.
Can we see that package?
Excuse me?
Can we get a look at the numbers?
Oh, absolutely. Can I get them to you? How can I best get them
Get
to you?
Susan and she can get them
Get them to Susan? Sure.
Because it's like looking at almost every piece of the puzzle, but not quite,
Oh,
and then
you're-
voting on that puzzle.
Had I
And it puts us
been
in an
prepared,
awful
I could have
position.
brought it with me today, but I will get it to Susan.
Well, you may recall that when we had Island House, whether we're all 100% happy with the result, we did spend a great deal of time analyzing.
Right.
And we did spend a lot of time in the merits. We had a lot of
Which is what I thought we were gonna do with Westview.
and we will be doing with Westview, compressed into the time frame that we need, so.
Well, then we won't spend a
Well,
lot of
we-
time. Can't spend a lot of time to compress it. We'll
Well,
be spending less time, and that's why I wanna get a head start. Let's look at the numbers and at least we can start asking questions.
we can get those numbers and start, we can ask for the appraisal when that's available. We can review what we did for Island House to see just how that worked. I started to do, but I don't have much time until next week. And then,
Yeah, I wanna look at them side by side and see the actual
Right,
differences
so-
or similarities.
yeah,
We may have that analysis done for you.
Oh, perfect. Love
I
to
think we did do an analysis, or not, our outside counsel did an analysis.
take whatever you got.
Yeah.
Because the more we know, the
Right,
better
so-
informed we can be.
so this is basically putting the committee on notice that we're going to have to be spending some serious time on this.